This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. For this is the day that the Lord has made. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
A reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. Hear me, O coastlands. Listen, O distant peoples. The Lord called me forth from birth. From my mother's womb he gave me my name. He made of me a sharp-edged sword and concealed me in the shadow of his arm. He made me a polished arrow. In his quiver he hid me. You are my servant, he said to me, Israel, through whom I show my glory. Though I thought I had toiled in vain, and for nothing uselessly spent my strength, yet my reward is with the Lord, my recompense is with my God. For now the Lord has spoken, who formed me as his servant from the womb, that Jacob may be brought back to him, and Israel gathered to him. And I am made glorious in the sight of the Lord, and my God is now my strength. It is too little, he says, for you to be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and restore the survivors of Israel. I will make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. I praise you, for I am wonderfully made.
I praise you, for I am wonderfully made.
O Lord, you have proved me, you know me. You know when I sit and when I stand. You understand my thoughts from afar. My journeys and my rest you scrutinize. With all my ways you are familiar. I praise you, for I am wonderfully made. Truly you have formed my inmost being. You knit me in my mother's womb. I give you thanks that I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. I praise you, for I am wonderfully made. My soul also you knew full well, nor was my frame unknown to you. When I was made in secret, when I was fashioned in the depths of the earth,
I praise you, for I am wonderfully made.
The second reading is from the Acts of the Apostles. In those days, Paul said, God raised up David as king. Of him God testified, I have found David, son of Jesse, a man after my own heart. He will carry out my every wish. From this man's descendants, God, according to his promise, has brought to Israel a Savior, Jesus. John heralded his coming by proclaiming a baptism of repentance to all the people of Israel. And as John was completing his course, he would say, What do you suppose that I am? I am not he. Behold, one is coming after me. I am not worthy to unfasten the sandals of his feet. My brothers, sons of the family of Abraham, and those others among you who are God-fearing, to us this word of salvation has been sent. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
You, child, will be called the prophet of the Most High, for you will go before the Lord to prepare his way.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
When the time arrived for Elizabeth to have her child, she gave birth to a son. Her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown great mercy toward her, and they rejoiced with her. When they came on the 8th day to circumcise the child, they were going to call him Zechariah after his father. But his mother said in reply, "No, he will be called John." But they answered her, "There is no one among your relatives who has this name." So they made signs asking his father what he wished him to be called. He asked for a tablet and wrote, "John is his name," and all were amazed. Immediately his mouth was opened, his tongue free, and he spoke, blessing God. Then fear came upon all their neighbors, and all these matters were discussed throughout the hill country of Judea. All who heard these things took them to heart, saying, "What then will this child be? For surely the hand of the Lord is with him." The child grew and became strong in spirit, and he was in the desert until the day of his manifestation to Israel. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning.
Good morning, Father.
Today, as you probably figure out, we're celebrating the feast of the birth of John the Baptist. And I would suggest that a reading worth pondering was the first one today from Isaiah, but because it has so many rich promises in it. And if you take home a bulletin, you'll see there's the Vigil of St. John, and then it says day. And that's the one you want. And it'll lead you to that reading from Isaiah, if you have the time to pray it today. I think it's such a wonderful reading because it reminds us, first of all, that we are created, fashioned, and formed by our God, which means each one of us, as we said in the responsorial psalm, is wonderfully made. Each one of us is unique and special. And then we were told the servant was armed with 2 gifts, a sharp-edged sword and a sharp arrow. Now those are wonderful images because they're not meant to be images of destruction. They're meant to be images of penetration. And that's what the servant is called to do, to penetrate the hearts of others with the wonder of God's saving love. The servant's presence is not destructive, it's constructive. It's meant to be penetrating the hearts of all with the wonder of God's great love. And then there comes a point in which we're told the servant gets discouraged and wonders about his labor. And then he realizes what he doesn't understand is okay, because everything is in God's keeping. Everything is in God's keeping. And as I thought of that, I couldn't help but think of Paul's great proclamation in Romans chapter 8. For those who love God, all things work unto good. Not some things, not just good things. All things work unto good. And the servant learned to bow under the mighty hand of God, trusting that what the servant didn't understand, God did. And then it ends with a bold promise. God's love is not just for the house of Israel. God's love is so full, so rich, and so overflowing, that God's love is meant to come to all the nations, so that God's salvation will reach the ends of the earth. This is really a powerful, powerful first reading, with wonderful images, not just for the servant, but for your journey and for mine. And I would suggest that you take a few moments, if you have it today, to quietly read it, pray it, and ponder it.